Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Today's video is part 2 of my DIY fall decor. If you haven't seen part 1, make sure you go and check that out after this video. So let's jump right in. I'm starting by using this metallic gold spray paint I picked up from Hobby Lobby, and I'm going to be spray painting some items. I found this mason jar at Hobby Lobby for $1.35, and I picked up these plain leaves from the Dollar Tree. So I'm spray painting them because I thought they would look really good in gold. And if you saw my first DIY video, you know that I used them in some of the items there too. So I'm just going ahead and giving these items 2 coats so they're nice and pretty. And then I am using my black matte spray paint, which I also used on my first video, to spray paint this little vase I got from the dollar store. Here I'm also spray painting some of these branches I found at Home Goods on sale. If you saw my fall haul decor, you saw that I got these for $8, but they were just plain wood colors. So I decided to spray paint them with gold, and I also added a little bit of glitter to some of them. And then you're gonna see what I'll be using them for. Now that everything is dry, I'm gonna go ahead and work on this flower arrangement. I actually spent $10 on it. I'm using that mason jar I painted, which turned out super cute, and these flowers from the dollar store. So first thing I'm doing is grabbing these pliers and cutting some of the stem of all the flowers, because I want them to fit perfectly on the mason jar without any of the stem showing. I do want to point out that I'm only cutting the bottom stems to shorten them. I am keeping them in bunches though, because they are much easier to work with like that, except for these white flowers, which I am cutting individually, because I will be placing them in different parts of the flower arrangement to give it a little more volume. Once you're done cutting your flowers, you could go ahead and start working on your arrangement. I'm starting with this branch because it's the only one I have, so I'm placing it in the middle and spreading it out so it's nice and even everywhere. And then I'm gonna be adding my flowers. I'm starting with the little bunches because I have 2 of each color, so I'm making sure all the colors are opposite from each other so they're not all bunched up together. And once I have those in place, I am going to be adding the little single white flowers just to break up the bright colors and give it a little more volume. Once I have everything all together, I am holding everything tight with one hand and just adding the flowers so nothing moves. But once everything is nice and placed wherever I want it to be, I am gonna go ahead and grab this little elastic hairband and tying the arrangement together so nothing moves out of place. Once I got those nice and tight in place, I cut off whatever stem needs a little trim, and then I place them inside the mason jar to make sure they fit nicely. Once that's all done and I'm happy with the way they look, I'm adding a few final touches. I found these little branches at a Walmart and they were $1, so I decided to separate them and place them wherever I feel will bring the arrangement a little more life. And then I'm also grabbing those gold leaves I painted at the beginning of the video and adding them as well. I wasn't sure what I was going to be using these leaves when I picked them up from the dollar store, but I'm so glad I spray painted them gold because I use them in so many of these projects. Okay, now I'm all done with this, and here's the final product. I absolutely love the way it turned out, and so did Penelope, so let's move on to my wreath. This wreath turned out so good, and I spent a total of $15, which I think is crazy. All you see is either from the dollar store or from Walmart for $1, and all you're gonna need is scissors, pliers, a hot glue gun, and some of the elastic hairbands. Okay guys, I've never done one of these, so the first thing I'm doing is getting a vision of where I want things to go before I start gluing and messing things up. So I am just playing around with the flowers here, but once I get everything where I think looks good, I take everything off and I go ahead and start on my arrangement. Once again, I'm using these little flower bunches from Dollar Tree, and I still want to keep them together, so I'll go ahead and cut them. And once they're cut, I grab a little elastic band and tie them together to keep them in a bunch. And I have 2 of these, so I go ahead and do this to both and then set them aside. Once those are ready to go, you could go ahead and start placing the flowers where you want them to be. I'm gonna start with this yellow flower, which is my favorite. I found this one at Walmart for $1, and it has this little clip on the back, so it's nice to just clip on to the wreath. The bow is not glued to the wreath yet. I just put it there to know where I want my flowers to start, and I'm starting from the bottom up. Once I got that flower down, I go ahead and grab the little bunch of flowers and I cut the little stem off a little bit just so it's easier to place, and then I just stuck it in one of the holes and placed a little bit of glue just to hold it there and prevent it from falling down. Then I grabbed this little burlap sunflower, also from Walmart, with the little clip, and placed it there, and then I'm gonna go ahead and follow the same pattern after the sunflower. Once I have this pattern, I go ahead and place all the main flowers down, and then it's a matter of just filling up the holes between them. I grabbed these branches I found at Walmart. These were $1 each, and I like them because they had these little pumpkins and pine cones, and I thought it gave the wreath a nice touch. So I go ahead and cut the stem off because they're a little bit too long, and I'm starting with this red one here. I'm placing it inside the wreath and just sticking it through. And you're gonna see here the stem comes out, so I just pull it nice and tight, and I make sure everything is nice and tucked where I want it. And then I'm just adding a little bit of glue just to keep it in place and make it a little more secure. Now I'm trying to decide where I want this other branch to go. Again, guys, this is my first time doing this and I'm not sure what I'm doing, so I'm just figuring things out as I go. But I decided I am going to put it right here next to the bow because I like the way it looked. But I am going to be splitting it off and taking off the little beaded branch and then placing it somewhere else. So I go ahead and cut that off, and then I cut again the stem because it's a little bit too long, and then I'm gonna go ahead and place it right here at the bottom, right before the bow. Once I'm done with those branches, I go ahead and start getting these single flowers from the dollar store and placing them on the wreath. I placed this one just without a stem and just some glue, but then I decided that they are much easier to put and they will be more secure if I put a stem on them because the little stems are just little wires. So I go ahead and put it back on the stem and cut the wire and then just stick them in the wreath wherever I want them to go, and then just add a little bit of glue to keep them secure. Now I'm done with the little flowers. I am setting my bow back where I think I want it, and then I'm grabbing the little beaded branch that I cut off and I placed it at the top because I thought it would look cute sticking out. And then again, I am grabbing those gold leaves that I've been using so much and cutting some off and adding them to the wreath just to give it a little more shine, and just because I thought they would look really cute on it. So here I'm just cutting single leaves and then putting a little bit of hot glue on them and placing them wherever I felt I could use a little bit of gold. Now for the last piece is the bow. I'm just fluffing it up because it was just flat and ugly. And then to put it on the wreath, I decided to cut some of this wire from the flowers just to put it through the bow and then tie it to the wreath. So I just went ahead and cut a little piece off. I put it through the back of the bow and then just tied it to the wreath. And then I also added a little bit of glue just to make sure it was nice and tight there and it wouldn't fall off. Once the bow is down, I just make sure that I don't need to add anything else and that everything is nice and secure and glued on the wreath. And then that's it. This is the final product. I love the way this wreath turned out. It's one of my favorite things I did, besides the white pumpkins, which were also my favorites. But I love the way this turned out. I looked for a wreath for so long but refused to pay so much money for it. So the fact that this one was $15 is just amazing. Last thing I made was this little bonus arrangement, and this was a total of $3. I painted the little vase you saw at the beginning, and then I went ahead and bought these branches at the dollar store. So I just placed them in here. The flowers have little eyes and spiders, and this would look so cute in my little spooky corner. Okay guys, that is it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Here I'm just showing you what I ended up doing with those gold branches I painted. I put them in this big vase I have in my dining room just to give it a little bit of a fall look, and I love the way they turned out. I'm also going to be doing a fall decor tour of my home, just so you guys see where I ended up placing all the projects I did. So make sure you stay tuned for that. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't yet. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.